Hello, everyone. My name is Prashant Mishra. I work for a cybersecurity company based out of Delhi. And I've been in the industry for 20 years. And the reason I'm doing this session is because, as investors, we try to find new sectors, right? Where is the trend? Is it EV? Is it specialty chemicals? Is it FMCG? We're just looking for the next holy grail, right? And typically, IT is complicated for a lot of people, and even for those who work in IT. So that's what I thought. I will do a brief overview of the tech sector, and essentially I'll talk about everything, right? So US investing, India investing, etc. And now we'll start in a structure. So essentially, this industry is all about build, operate, and manage, right? Just remember these terms: build, operate, and manage. And with that, let me do a deep dive into what they mean, right? So I hope you can see my notes. So essentially, in the tech sector, what we are doing is either we are building software or we are building hardware. I'm just confirming if you can see my node.
Yeah, Prashant. Yeah,
Okay,
good
thank
to
you.
see you are using same one.
Yeah, yeah, thanks to you. So yeah, so essentially, when I'm talking hardware, the companies in the tech sector who are doing focus on hardware, they're building hardware for masses, for businesses, or the base infrastructure, right? So let's talk about masses. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, right? The most basic hardware that we use is a mobile phone, right? And within mobile phone, there are the most common, the top three vendors are Apple, BBK, and Samsung. And some of you might be surprised what BBK is, but BBK is the company that owns OnePlus, Vivo, IQQ, Oppo, and Realme, right? So this is a China-based company. So top three providers. Similarly, in terms of the personal compute devices, Dell, Lenovo, and Apple. And remember, this is not an exhaustive list, but I'm trying to give you a good idea of who's making what category of products, right? And then of course television. So Samsung, Sony, BBK, again, right? They have their own televisions, and then smart tablets, which is Apple, Lenovo, Amazon, and Samsung. Then smart devices. I know a lot of you are using smart devices from Amazon, Google, or Siri. Now smart lights. I remember I went to US few years back, and I got my first smart light for around 10,000 rupees. This was a Philips bulb. I was very excited. I called all my relatives, "Hey, dekho, dekho," and this can change up to 1 million colors, and now it's available everywhere, right? Local companies are making it. And then of course the streaming devices, everything is getting streamed today, right? It's a lot of options there. And again, gaming consoles, so whether they are from Sony, or they are from Microsoft, PlayStation, right, and Nintendo. And the next generation of devices, which is the virtual reality lenses coming from various companies, one of them owned by Meta, right? And then of course personal fitness devices, right? So these are smart trackers, and they help us move, right? And then there are smart devices or sensors for various things, like keeping your back straight, measuring your heartbeat, and whatnot, right? So the hardware industry, as you can imagine, has different set of manufacturers based on what the requirement is. Now let's look into what's being done at the enterprise side of businesses, right? So typically in this category, there are three types of hardware, just keeping it high level. So there are servers. So this is where we store our application software and data. And servers are typically manufactured by Dell, HP, and Lenovo. There is storage, right? So which is IBM, NetApp, Dell, and Pure Storage. And there are more companies in that, which is for mass storage. So example, if you're let's say you're uploading one YouTube video, right? Instagram has millions of YouTube or video records every day. Where do you upload that data, right? So you need space for it, so, or storage for it. Those these companies make that storage. And then of course the network, right? So these are, how do we connect to it? Is how the cabling works, how internet goes from my home to my my station in nearby, or my internet service provider. So there are companies who are doing these cablings and network equipments, right? So in enterprise, server, storage, and network are the three main categories. And then the bare bones, right? So which is essentially the chips, and people who are making capacitors and chips, and small cards that would do something specific, like measuring the pressure, air temperature, air quality, all that. And there are providers, a lot of providers like that. And then people are putting all of them into space, like a motherboard, which is Intel, AMD, etc. And then of course, specific sensors for industry, right? Speed, velocity, all that. So this is the hardware part, right? So I will stay away from hardware because I don't understand this world. But again, it is all part of the tech industry. If anybody is doing an analysis, right? Now, let's focus on software now. So software, again, same categorization. We will have software that is used by people like us. So right. So there are 7 categories that I could find. So one is typically platforms or operating systems. So these are like on mobile. This is Google Android and iOS from Apple. Most common, as you know, there was Microsoft and BlackBerry also in at one point of time. And then from systems, our laptops or desktops perspective, there's of course Microsoft Windows and Ubuntu and Debian and various Linux form factors, right? And the second kind of software is communication, right? So example, most common is Zoom. We are all on a Zoom call today, okay? Similarly, from Microsoft, there is Microsoft Teams. I'm sure your kids know it. They either use Teams or Google or Microsoft, one of the communication collaboration software, or some of them might even use Skype. And then Google again has Google Meet to do a video calling, or Gmail through which we can send emails. And then of course there is Meta, right? So, or which we call Facebook, that owns both WhatsApp and Telegram. And I know all of us are using these softwares to collaborate and communicate every day. Okay. And then the third category of software for masses is, social apps like Koo, Twitter, right? View Facebook and Instagram from Meta, and then of course Snaps, the Snapchat. So this is all about community, social ideas, social information sharing, connecting with my friends and anybody who wants to know more about me. And then from personal productivity, you have general software. So like there is email software, there is Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and from both Microsoft and Google. And then depending on a profession, this could be a different software. Like somebody who's doing a video editing, photo editing, they would use either a software from Adobe, like Photoshop, or something from Apple. So depending on profession, there are hundreds of softwares available again, right? And then entertainment specific, there, as you know, Google, the big boss, owns YouTube. And then for streaming, we have Gaana, Saavn, Spotify, right? Wink. And then from movie streaming, we have Netflix, Disney Hotstar, and Sony Live. Sorry, I did not put that logo, right? But then gaming, if typically you have games coming from top providers, and it could be either a PUBG or some action game, or strategy game, or a chess game. Hundreds of options there, right? And then 7, it's specific needs, right? So now I'll come to that, but look at this. This is how we are spending our life today, right? Let's say I get up in the morning, right? I open my phone. What do I open? I open my Android. Then I log into my system, which is typically, I use a Mac OS, but it can be Windows for somebody else. Then I connect to calls, using Zoom or Teams. Then I check my emails on Gmail. I text, look at WhatsApp from, on our Telegram, in Vivek's group or some other groups, family WhatsApp groups. I look at Twitter feeds, follow some of my friends and celebrities. And then I start my office. I check my email. I do some editing on Word. I create my presentations. I do some calculations on Excel, and then whenever I'm bored, I'm either watching something on YouTube or listening to music, watching Netflix on weekend, or playing a game. This is how we are consuming technology. Just look at it, right? And then, if on the weekend we decide to go out, or, we can order in. So we have options of Swiggy and Zomato. We can order online everything today, from clothes to groceries and whatnot, right? And if I'm looking to rent a property or buy a property, there I have options like 99 acres, no broker. And then if I have to do grocery, I can go with Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, sorry, not Myntra, but Blinkist. And then wedding, I can find my match, right? If somebody's not married, they can find their match at these online portals. Groceries, right? Blinkit and Big Basket. Blinkit promises 10-minute delivery. I've tested it, works well, right? Then if I have to go to, do a test, I can schedule an appointment on Lalpath Labs, Tata 1mg, right? Similarly, if I have to do a consulting with a doctor, I can go and visit all any of these apps, and I'm sure there are more options. My son's pediatrician, he has all his records on Facto, right? So I don't have to go back and maintain that entire full folder of what vaccinations have been given to them. And if I have to order vaccines or any of the medicines, there are multiple options again, right? So we are consuming technology, right, in various shapes and forms, and whether it is learning, day-to-day life, it is buying buy household item, finding a job, making a payment, everything is tech driven, right? So all this is possible because of this entire software industry, right? So software is something which you can't take away from our life, right? As a end user of today's world, right? So now that was as a normal person, but when I'm in office, right, again the same thing changes, right? So I'm it could be platforms, again same Microsoft, Windows, but if I'm doing productivity, right, collaborative, doing etc., all similar softwares are used, right? But then there is something specific happening in the business. Either we are adding more, so example, if I have to secure a company, I will go with a cybersecurity software, which has again multiple things. I'll come back to this. Or if I work in banking, if I work in travel, healthcare, depending on anywhere anybody is working, we are using software built by one of those companies, right? So I'm just putting some examples of various industries where softwares are used, by the employees of those industries to do their work, make better decisions. Example, in case of sales, my company uses Salesforce to maintain entire Salesforce pipeline, right? A lot of companies use Oracle to manage the inventory and how it is moving. Sometimes it could be custom software also. And in fact, whenever you're doing marketing, if somebody wants to do marketing, there are always software available to do that analysis, right? So the takeaway is simple, is that software is used by the end users as well as the companies, right? So very important that we have to understand this software side. Okay, now there again large providers like I'm sure you have heard of Microsoft Azure, AWS, IBM. All these big companies have large infrastructure where they help us build software, host softwares, run them, right? So one is the entire build part. Okay, so the software, as I said, either we are building software or we are building hardware. Now once that is the build part is over, there has to be somebody who can operate this, right? So we need people who can manage these softwares or systems and then manage them, right? Somebody is its software is running fine, somebody needs to monitor, take care of it, right? Like the way we take care of our houses. We've built the house once, but then we have to take care of leaks and any small damages that are happening now. So this is the entire industry now. So you have understood, right, that this entire build, operate, manage cycle is there, right? Let's look at how businesses are using this. Now, software is currently used by a lot of businesses as a differentiator, as a disruptor, or as new customer acquisition. Let's look at Zerodha. We all know about Zerodha. There were already a lot of brokerages available. Zerodha came and it broke the entire market. It changed the industry forever. Why? It made signing up of online accounts, online demat accounts, a very fast process. Executing transaction became very fast. Today, if you go to any bank's website, they allow you to sign up your account or get a new account in 5 minutes. Under 5 minutes, that's possible. Okay, you don't need to visit anywhere. You can do video KYC, okay, audio KYC. You don't need to go anywhere to get your policies, pay premiums, renew them, buy policies. You don't need to go to gym also, right? Or some gyms also have both online as well as offline mode, where you can track your workouts on the apps or follow the online program given by the bank. And in streaming, right? Cable, you don't need cables, the traditional cable TV that a lot of you would know anymore. You go to YouTube, you search for a channel, and I'm sure there is a live stream of it, right? So if you look at it, digital or software or technology is helping us, a lot of businesses to change the way they are behaving, right? So there are categories of business. Some of these businesses are fully digital or digital first businesses. Example, Zero the Grow, right? Fully digital. There are no branches. There is one office. There is some software running. You just sign up account as an end customer, and Zero the gets a new customer onboarded within 5-10 minutes, right? Same goes with learning. I can sign up on Byju's, Udemy for myself, for my kids, and learn. I can order food using Zomato. I can, if I'm a marketing company or I'm interested in marketing, I can sign up on Apple platform, learn about trends of how customers are behaving. I want to book a trip ticket. I go to use Ease My Trip, Make My Trip. I have to make payments. I use PhonePe, Paytm. I have to do, how customers are behaving in a particular industry, in hotels. I can look at rate gain. I have to compare policy. I go to Policy Bazaar and maybe buy policies. I have to buy makeup, or my wife has to buy makeup. We go to Nykaa, okay? And then government is also setting up policies where they're thinking fully digital banks without any branches, right? So digital first is the way businesses are behaving, okay? They are disrupting our industry. Everything around us is software driven, okay, or technology driven. So this is very important once you build your portfolio. A good case study is Bajaj Finance, right? Now, what if you look at their annual report, the last section which I've highlighted is they invest deeply in tech and analytics. What this means is whatever consumers who's getting onto their platform, they take that data and use it to upsell more, okay, and cross sell. They also take risk. So example, when you go on Amazon, you try to buy a mobile phone and you use the Bajaj FinServe no EMI or zero EMI option. There is a way Bajaj FinServe captures all the data you from Amazon, from your credit card history, PAN number, etc., and correlates that data and finds if they can give you a EMI with risk or without risk, right? So they are using the data to cross sell more and gain new customers. It's a differentiator, remember, for them. Okay. Now, most of us think they are a financing company, but remember, tech is what is driving them. Okay. And then if you look at Ola Electric's website, one of the differentiator they have highlighted is the Move OS, the operating system on the electric bike. Now, you would not wonder, right? You would think, why would I need operating system, right? But that's a differentiator now. I remember when I bought my Maruti Baleno, what impressed me was that it had an interface for both Apple Music as well as Android Car. So Apple Auto and Android Auto, both options were there. And I could use it. It was the first car, to my knowledge, in that segment that did it. And that was my buying decision. That was the reason. And then look at Hero. They have an e-shop. You don't need to go to any franchise and order. You can, if you know the model, you know what you need to buy, just place the order online. You don't need to visit. And look at Maruti. They are claiming that if you install their app, you can book services, make payments, track what your car is going through when you send it for service, right? They are a digital first company, or they are a digital process driven company. Okay, look at Shopper Stop. They have stores and they have an online store. Lifestyle, same. They have physical stores in malls. They have an online shop, and then Times of India. If you haven't noticed, they recently launched a TOI Plus subscription. So apart from physical newspaper that we get at home, they have a subscription where you get ad-free news, curated articles written by highly rated content writers, right? And of course, how can we miss ITC? So they also have an ITC store online where you can order their products if you don't want to order on Amazon. So these traditional businesses are also taking the digital route today. Okay, that's the takeaway. So first we saw digital first businesses. Second, we saw traditional businesses using the tech to drive more revenue, okay, on more channels. Now, we've been talking about EV, and of course, everybody knows about connected car, and this is, near future. The trial, I think within 2 years, we will have some cars available. Some of the case studies or reports I've been reading in US, there are cars that are perfectly working fine in California region. So I'm sure in 2-3 years, they will be available in most of the places, okay? And what is the key thing in connected car? Software. Right. Of course, there's hardware side, but software is binding everything together. Okay. So then there are companies like Tata Digital, right? So Tata Neo, and Jio, Tata and Jio are building super apps or super ecosystems where using one platform, you can do everything. So they call it Tata New. Right now, it's open to only Tata Group employees, as I've heard. But you can buy everything: groceries, electronics, finance, flights, holidays, and whatnot from single app, super app. This is the concept of super app. And then Geo, right? You get a Geo fiber at home. You get all these streaming apps. You get Geo 7 free, and Geo Mart and whatnot, right? So you have access to those. So these companies are going in a direction where they will provide ecosystems that will make our life easy, okay, using technology. Now, that's the consumer side, what's happening in the industry. So there is a concept of Industry 4.0. I highly recommend reading it. Just do a YouTube search also if that works for you. But essentially, industry is you're going to use software and a new hardware to produce more, reduce their cost of operations, do preventive maintenance. Okay, this concept is around remanufacturing, and then smart factories, and using the data to make better decisions. Okay, so that is a huge shift in way companies are working. Right now, this is not a new trend. This is something old. Okay, this came years back, but industries are moving now. Okay, now let's look at what we have learned so far. Right. Tech is used by any business today. Either they are boosting it, using it for employee productivity, like Zoom calls, collaboration, chatting, all that software, to monitor their operations day to day. Which factories are working, where is the production getting increased, decreased, if there's a fault in a particular robot or not. To analyze how customers are buying, Shopper Stop would definitely want to know which products are selling, so that they can keep more of that in inventory, so that it can be eventually delivered in a lesser amount of time. Amazon does the same. Again, another source of revenue. So you saw examples of IT Store, Hero Motors, Ola Electric, online channels, apart from these traditional businesses. And of course, modern businesses are digital first. Okay, very important. So to remember that. Now, if I have to, summarize everything today, I can say basics are food, cloth, house, right? And then tech, roti, kapda, makan, and tech. Can I imagine a day where you can survive without technology? Can you? I'm challenging you. Can't. People are writing books on detoxifying, digital minimalism. Try staying away from the phone for a day. That's how hard it has become. And then I'm a kid of 80s, right? I still understand. I remember the world without internet. I was telling my son, there was a time when there was no internet, and he said, "How did you live then? What did you do?" So digital native people cannot function without technology. They will take breaks from technology for getting normal. But eventually, our time, if you look at our day after sleeping, 60% of our aware time is going with technology. We're spending that time in technology. Now, can I say that tech is a mega trend or a super mega trend? Also, tech is the new FMCG. We can't survive without technology, and I'm sure most of you would agree with that, right? I can survive without medicine. Which is provided by a pharma company. So pharma sector, right? Of course, unless I'm sick, why would I take medicine? Maybe I need a multivitamin. Okay. Maybe I don't, but I do need technology. Every person needs technology today. Okay. So tech is the new FMCG. Now, also software is eating the world. Everything that we saw is an example of how software or technology is getting embedded into every business, whether they are digital first businesses or traditional businesses, for various reasons and purposes. Okay, then this was all good. You might be saying, okay, Prashant, this is good Gyan, we all get it, but where is the money? How do we make money out of it? That's the ultimate question. That's why we all are here, right? Let's look at how the industry first, right? So to understand, how to make money, you have to understand industry structure. So one thing is clear so far: technology is a mega trend. Now we have to decide where to invest. That is where you have to understand the industry value chain or industry structure. Okay, so let's look at. Now what I've done is I have divided this entire tech, this domain into across the world into these 6 categories. There could be more. This is my personal version. And again, I'm not a SEBI registered advisor. You will see a lot of companies. None of them are recommendations. I might or might not hold some companies. Okay, your decisions are your own. So look at this. So the first type of category is the large companies. They are called providers, so they feed backend of most of the companies. Okay, They help businesses get digital. Example, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. Now, many of you would not know, but Zerodha runs on AWS. Just Google Zerodha plus AWS. Every transaction you do goes from Zerodha website to the AWS or Amazon servers sitting in Mumbai or Bangalore, wherever they are. Okay. Then same goes with Microsoft, Google. They are behind these businesses. Okay. The second is category is hardware tech providers. So these are people who are building storage, chips, software, hardware, right? So Dell, Nvidia, some of them are building for specific industry, specific use cases. Again, then the third category is social companies. So they are going behind an idea of social people collaborating, working with people, socially interacting with people. So that's where Twitter, Meta, Google. Now again, Meta is a new name for Facebook. They renamed themselves, considering the evolution of technology going into metaverse. I'll be doing a session on metaverse soon, in case some of you are interested. I know people in group know that. Then the next category of the business is must-have. So any business typically need software for sales, HR, marketing. We saw cybersecurity, collaboration, and there are various companies in that space again. And then digital first companies, right? People who use technology to run their businesses. So this include gaming companies, media companies, right? So Hotstar, is it a tech company or is it a media? It's a media company. It provides movies and shows using technology. Every time you watch a match, it goes through a Hotstar tech software to Microsoft software or wherever they have hosted, but they use technology to survive. Then fintech, wallets, digital banks, educational tech, marketing tech, and I've mentioned some of the companies who are in that space. And then ultimately service provider. Now this is what we are mostly familiar with as investors in India, right? These are people who they provide. These are companies who provide people to guide, which is consult, build, operate, and manage technologies used by businesses, right? So this is what the entire typically service provider does, and these are the companies that are there. So again, this includes companies from both global trends as well as India trends, right? Because in technology is the only industry we can not stay away without talking the global trends, because it's disruptive. Some company in US can do and can launch a product that can impact a company in India. We use Facebook, which is a product of Meta, which is a company headquartered in US, in India. We are one of the largest consumers of Meta in the world, right? So tech is global in nature, as you can imagine. Now, let's look at their numbers, how they have helped. So look at the spend of the market, right? I've taken this from the Happiest Man, the RHP. The IT spend is right now this is billions of dollars, right? Again, across various categories: software, hardware services, engineering and research. This is a different category. I've not focused on that because I don't understand that space. And then look at emerging technologies. And I know some of these terms would be new to you, but this is essentially, will become backend of how businesses are working in today or in future. Okay. Then services. If you look at services, there are various types of services that are growing. Okay. CAGR is pretty slow. So compare the CAGR, right? This is CAGR of the immersive technology, or sorry, the new tech versus services tech. Remember that, because this is one of the parameters we will take in deciding, and then where is this getting consumed. So US is of course the biggest consumer of technology, and hence biggest money is there, right? Followed by Europe, Asia, and then India is this black one, right? This is again all in $1 billion, right? But if I have to look at verticals, right? So manufacturing consumes, most tech is consumed by BFSI. I was reading an article where they said a typical BFSI company uses 100 applications to work or function in various across departments, which is 100 softwares, right? Apart from general software that I've mentioned. And then educational technologies like Udemy, Byju's, etc., and then manufacturing, right? So various verticals or various industries are spending money on technical evolution or technical upgrade, right? But how are the markets reacting to all this? Let's look at. So I'll start with US because they drive the world global index, right? So this is S&P 500 index, the top 500 stock, just like Nifty 500 we have in India. So look at these are first 15 companies: Apple, Microsoft, tech, connected car, hardware. This is Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway. Tech, which is Meta, bank, healthcare, conglomerate, healthcare, network card or visas, right? And then household chain, right? Look at this. This is all driven by tech. S&P 500. Top 10 companies in the world are tech companies. Okay, they offer some form of technology. Now let's look at Nasdaq 100, which is a mix of most of the tech companies and some of the companies, just like the IT index we have in India. So this is the Nasdaq 100. This is Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, Alphabet is Google, right? Meta, Broadcom chipmaker, Adobe is the productivity software, for images and video editing. Pepsi, Cisco is a networking company, network hardware. Costco retail, Comcast is the streaming company. Intel is a chip manufacturer. Qualcomm chip manufacturer. Netflix is video streaming. Intuit is a software company again. It's a chip company, telecom company, chip company, fintech, PayPal, digital transaction. Notice within. So what we started is we started with high level top 10 companies in the entire world, right? Because US is the biggest country in terms of the GDP. Followed by within index, look at the breakup, right? So various technologies, and let's look further. What did you notice? A lot of them are global brands. We all know these brands. Did you see any service company? No. Remember that. Okay. So global brands and tech companies. In tech, world is driven by. We are using Google. We are using Facebook. We are using Twitter. Okay. These three. YouTube, they are all US driven. Okay, so they are global brands. Now move further. Okay, now let's understand these sharks. So Alphabet, which is the holding company or parent company of Google, has multiple other companies that you might not know. So YouTube, Google Maps, Google Apps, Android, Google Search. They have an internet company called Google Fiber. They have investing arm, Google Venture. They have a home device hardware arm called Nest for smart home systems. Okay, they have a research lab. We all know this, right? We use a lot of this. Look at Amazon. Okay, Amazon sells online stuff, home smart devices, smart assistants, Alexa, book reading, enterprise services for building applications and softwares, video streaming, music. It's called Amazon Music now, by the way. And grocery delivery. I'm sure most of you know this, right? Meta, so Facebook, which is Facebook, which owns Facebook as a platform, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, and the Oculus virtual reality goggle, right? So now let's look at Microsoft. I just love Microsoft because the way they have evolved, right? So typically, everybody knows Word, and I'm sure everybody knows PowerPoint and Word, but they own LinkedIn, which is used by professionals for job searching, Skype, business and personal communication, GitHub, which is a software development platform, Microsoft Xbox, which is a gaming platform. Okay, and they've been acquiring tons of gaming businesses. Okay, another Shark. So it's a company that touches people who like you and I. It touches businesses. It helps them build software, right? It helps them be productive. It touches end user kids. I met my nephew few weeks back. He's almost 8 and he spends a lot of time on Minecraft. He doesn't know it belongs to Microsoft, and he's building stuff there. And then let's look at Apple. Another Shark. Lot of hardware, amazing hardware, game changer, right? Mobiles, AirPods. I'm using an AirPod right now. They have the best systems, highly expensive. Apple Watch as a fitness tracker, headphones, whatnot, right? High-end graphic designing, etc. So, and then amazing source of revenue, which is called Apple Store. Okay, I think they were the ones who started this and made a lot of money. They still make a lot of money by selling apps and games on app stores. And of course, there is the Apple TV, which is the streaming service from there, right? So if I have to summarize what the giants or the big things are doing, is big companies are doing, they're selling ideas, software or hardware for use by masses, people like us. Then they are using it that is easier to sell. So example, I have to buy Office, I go to Microsoft.com, I pay either the student license or professional license, and I can easily buy it in whatever money that is, right? And then as enterprise, same thing applicable. I have to buy email systems for my company. I buy Office 365. They will upsell you Office 365 security. I mean, you buy $3 per user for email box. Why don't you pay $1 more and you will get email security also? Okay. You might need, all users will make, they will generate data. Why don't you give me $50 more, $5 more, and I will give 1 TB per storage per user per employee. Okay. And now if you're an end user, you can buy games, and they have marketplaces built, and essentially they have an ecosystems play, if you notice, right? So Amazon is selling software, hardware, services, and they're making product margins by selling, letting sellers sell on their platform or on this, and of course they're advertising. I was reading a report a few days back. Amazon is they have beaten YouTube's revenue in terms of advertising, because people are, or advertisers, or businesses are spending money to get their product displayed as sponsors. Let's say you go to Amazon.com, you search for a product, you will see an option which says sponsored. So sellers are paying money as sponsors to Amazon to get their product listed first. Who thought of that, right? Amazing idea. Same goes with Microsoft, Apple, FB, Google. They are embedded in our lives. We just can't survive without them. Okay, that's how strong they've become, right? So they are driving our life, if I have to say, right? And then these companies, by the way, also invest into new companies to make more money, or emerging technologies companies, which can help them, stay ahead of the game. Now, let's break up. Okay, what I've done is I've divided this entire, what they sell into columns, right? So what they are typically selling is standalone software. They are letting people install software in a hardware, like example, Microsoft. It allows you to buy Office, that you can allow in a system. Okay, it lets Dell buy Windows that can be installed on every laptop that you buy. Okay, and if you notice, you have to pay more if you buy a laptop without an operating system versus Windows installed. Just notice that. Okay, because that money is going to both Dell and Microsoft. Then internet-based software, so you can go to, you can subscribe to any of the services that Microsoft has as a company or as an end user. Some of them provide infrastructure to build. So let's say I was giving example of Zerodha. They are running their entire software on Amazon, right? This is where they play. Amazon allows companies like digital first businesses to make their applications run on their infrastructure, right? And they have marketplaces, so you can go on Apple Play Store, Google Play Store, buy games, order movies, videos. Amazon has a full website, as you know, right? And Facebook allows you to make custom stores for sellers and then do it. Same goes with hardware, right? Sorry, it should be a right, but it's a mistake. But essentially, they sell monitors and systems and phones and whatnot. And then there is no ad revenue, but Microsoft does the same. They have Surface tablets, they have gaming consoles. Okay, Google has Google Phone, Google Home. Amazon has Amazon Echo, and other smart devices. Okay, so then ad revenue. Apple doesn't make, to my understanding, Apple doesn't make any money on ad revenues. Okay, but Facebook is entirely dependent on ad revenue. Look at this. So this is actually, let me fix this right away. This is actually should be a SOP. Okay. But essentially, Facebook is dependent completely on marketing ads, whereas Microsoft, Google, and Amazon have more businesses, right? And then most of them are selling data stores and streaming services and whatnot. Okay, so that's how the tech ecosystem is working. Okay, now who are they selling this to? So Apple is mostly targeting end users, so people like us. Microsoft is targeting end users by using games, Office 365, stuff that personally can be used personally by a normal person. They're targeting businesses. So, okay, why don't you buy all email boxes for 1,000 users, 1 lakh users? Example, a company like HDFC Bank, I'm sure they use one of the technologies from Microsoft, Google to work, send emails, create presentations, etc. They're also working, all these companies are selling to technology businesses, right? And Facebook is, of course, idea-oriented, social engagement-oriented. So it's just targeting the end user from various platforms like Insta and WhatsApp, okay? Now, so that's that. But let's look at numbers now. Look at the brand. Okay, this is not the latest number because in US the numbers are from Jan to December. Look at the employee and revenue. 154,000 employees, $365 billion. Microsoft 181. This is, I think, quarterly number, not the full number, but I'm sure this is full, right? And then look at this. Amazon has the highest number of employees in these companies, 1.3 million, $457 billion. Okay. Now this is amazingly, same goes with Facebook, $86 billion, right? So look at this, they are controlling the world. Now in software, the differentiator is technology. So these companies have a lot of patents or intellectual property. Microsoft, 77K patents, Apple, 72K patents approximately, Amazon, 25K patents. So they, whatever they are doing, they have competitive edge in that. Nobody else can replicate it for a period of time, okay, in the way they are using patents now. I hope you're finding interesting.
Yeah, so far, if you are following, just type yes in the comment box. Awesome.
Okay, let's move on to gaming. And there is a reason I'm taking this flow, because it will help you make money. Simple. Okay, that's how I'm deciding my portfolio. So let's look at gaming. Now, gaming is, most of people would not believe, but gaming has more money than movies and music. Okay, $157 billion were spent on gaming across the world compared to Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, any form of industry or streaming combined.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was listening to one of the session in CFA Value Investing Summit. So very interesting data point. The money which people are spending on virtual food and, consuming some energy drink to their hero virtually on game and all those things is much, much higher than actual food we are consuming and amount we are spending
I
on.
agree. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Okay. Now also look at the CAGR of gaming market, right? 14.9%. Okay. And how it's going to increase. Look at the gaming. Where is it happening? It's happening mostly on mobile. If I have to give you a breakup, right? This is specific to China. So because mobile penetration is increasing in most of the country, China has the largest amount of population. Of course, they're spending more money on mobile games. Okay. Now, India, right? All this is taken from the Nazara DRHP, right? This is India mobile games in number of millions, right? Again, mobile console is PlayStation or Xbox, and this is personal computer. Okay, and then look at the gaming system. So within the gaming system, so there is another breakup. So if I have to go back, there is hardware, software. Within software, there are 5 categories, and within categories, there are further ecosystems, further plays, right? So if you have to decide on where to invest, understand the ecosystem. That's the takeaway here, right? So example, gaming, again, you will see cloud providers or companies who provide infrastructure to host games. Again, you will see some common names: IBM, Google, Microsoft, AWS, Alibaba. Okay, people who are providing internet, people who are making games. So Activision, Ubisoft, EA Sports, people who are providing hardware like NVIDIA. And these are again chip makers, if you remember the hardware part. So if you go to, if you get to assemble a PC, they will ask, do you need a graphic card if you play games? And there is a normal card and which comes on motherboard, but if you are interested in playing games, you have to pay money, because now there are dedicated hardware that's used for building graphics or giving rendering better graphics. Okay, and then there are gaming services provider, gaming records, gaming mobile gaming. You can record your entire game and replay, put it as a video on YouTube. And then where do you play them? So you can play them on television, media boxes, mobiles, consoles, whatnot, right? So the gaming is entire different industry. Okay, interesting. Now let's look at the revenues. Activision, famous for Call of Duty. I've played it a lot, and I know some of you would have played it too. 8.8 billion. EA Sports, 5.6 billion. Tencent, which is PUBG, $74 billion, right? Look at the money these guys are making. Okay. Microsoft, by the way, recently acquired earlier this year Activision. Okay. They also acquired a company called Bethesda. The acquisition just got complete. And this was acquired by last year, but they make very popular games like Arcane, Wolfenstein, Doom. People from 90s who played games then would know, are familiar with these titles, right? But look at the money that's being spent in the gaming. So we thought Bollywood movies make money. No, I don't think so. Most money is made in gaming, right? I saw Microsoft spent $68 billion to buy Activision. Okay. Why? Because it has data, it has people who are working, right? Active subscribers who are paying money to spend time on games, right? Again, Zigna was bought. Farmville, if you might recall, Zigna made it, acquired in $12.7 billion. ZeniMax, which was responsible, again, Microsoft bought it. Minecraft was bought for $2 billion by Microsoft. So Microsoft has been a big acquirer in the gaming industry. The second company is Tencent, right, which has Clash of Clans, Sumo. This is, I don't recall the name of this game, right? And then Bandai Games, Electronic Arts, they are buying games. Sony, Bungie, okay, which made they acquired a company called Bungie that makes a game called Destiny. I've played some of these games, right? So if you notice the trend here, large conglomerate or large software providers are buying gaming, and then there are dedicated companies that are involved in the gaming ecosystem. Okay, because that's where the money is. Now let's look at cybersecurity. This is where I work, so highly passionate. This is something which is must have for any business or end users today. I'm sure you know antivirus. All of us need antivirus. Some of us don't install it. But this market is, again, I've been in this for 20 years. Some people say, that this is starting now, but it started long back. Okay. The cybersecurity industry, by 2020, it will be around $366 billion. Okay. Look at that. I can't find a business who can survive without some form of cybersecurity, because hackers can bring it down. Hackers can steal your data. Some of you just Google Bangladesh Swift hack. Attackers went into the central bank, one of the banks in Bangladesh, and had millions of dollars, okay, transferred the money. So every bank, there is by law, by regulation, it is mandatory to have a cybersecurity in place. So if there is an industry which is regulation driven, one of the regulation will definitely will talk about cybersecurity spending. Remember that. Okay. Now, who's buying? As I said, banking, IT, retail, healthcare, government, manufacturing, everyone is buying cybersecurity. Okay. Countries want to hack other countries. You know that, right? I'm sure you have heard of cyber terrorism. Next, where World War will be on the hacking or software side, cyber warfare. All those terms are popularly used. So everybody is spending money on cybersecurity now, which has led to this. This is within cybersecurity. There are subsectors. Okay. And this is a list of companies, thanks to a company called Momentum Cyber, who track some of these companies. To my understanding, there are 6,000 cybersecurity companies in the world focusing either on the ecosystem or specific area, solving a specific problem. Example, antivirus is a specific problem. How do I ensure that my mobile or my laptop or my desktop isn't infected by a virus? Very simple problem. So that will fall under endpoint security. How do I ensure my application is not hacked? That will fall under application security, so on and so forth, right? So this is the entire industry. Okay. Now, let's look at services sector. Now, this is where a lot of Indian companies are. Again, going back to that definition, this companies in this sector, they provide people to build, operate, and maintain systems used by businesses. Okay. Let's look at top service provider companies in the world. And this has changed over the years. Indian companies, I'm so proud, our country has produced some of the best service provider companies of the world, right? Number one is Accenture. Okay. This is revenue. TCS, Infosys, IBM. IBM was once number one, right? But Cognizant, Capgemini. Look at this. Most of them are Indian companies. So proud to see all these companies there. Now, let's look at that. How this sector works, because some of you don't. If you don't work into it, it's hard. You think everything is the same, but it's not. Let's say in a typical services sector, what happens is a customer says, let's say Vivek is a big company. Vivek runs a big company. He decides, yeah, I want to launch a new application. I have 100 vendors. I just want to make sure that vendor logs into this application, make a payment, payment using Paytm, and I can see those reports. Also, I want to make sure I get an alert if somebody hasn't made a payment for more than 60 days. This, because I'm a big brand now, this should work across all the world. Let's say 20, 30 countries nearby. It should work in Singapore, Australia, etc. at high speed. It should allow vendors to upload videos of how their products are getting used.
Prashant, sorry to interrupt. There is some noise coming in the background. I don't know if it is like your headphone or something.
No, it's not. It's my wife cooking. So that's the
okay. Then there is no problem.
Right. So, and then they want to ensure that it is not hacked, and then it should be up always, and people should be able to log in anytime. And then you should be there, and the application should run for 3-5 years. I am only interested in seeing collection from my vendors. That's my only job. That's my core business. IT is with you, technology is with you. So this is a typical RFP or request for proposal that comes, and they define a scope of work, steps, expectations from this entire engagement. Okay, so typically what happens is service providers like TCS, HCL, Accenture, they would reach out and they will give option. Option number one could be, sir, we will make an application by hiring developers. So I will buy developers and application architect who can write these applications the way Vivek has built Ride Winners, right? So I will build my own application instead of using something from which is already available in the market, right? And then suppliers would be typically people either I will get my existing employees to do it, or hire new employees. The second thing could be, I would need to find a provider where I can host this application. So example, Ride Winner is, I'm sure, hosted in a server by a GoDaddy, Amazon, etc. And some of the companies that provide that allow you to host application by charging money. So you would need a cloud infra provider like Google, Microsoft, GoDaddy, Amazon, etc. And then you need cybersecurity features, because you don't want application to be hacked. So you need something for securing your application, antivirus, etc. Right? So what they do is they put everything together in a bundle and they give it as a package that, Mr. Customer, for this, I will charge you X dollars or X rupees per year or per month. Option number one. The second thing they can do is, instead of me building a Ride Winners for Vivek, let me find out, let's say, what if somebody already has an application, let's say MarketSmith is there. What if I, as an HCL or TCS, I just change the logo of MarketSmith, I pay some fees to Microsmith, I put my logo, I put Vivek's logo there, and Vivek can now go in the world and tell, this is my own product, right? And I will customize it. Okay. So this is third-party application. And typically what you need is somebody who is providing such kind of application, and he would allow you to share his white label, as we call in the industry, to use this, right? And this is a different model, right? Now, which option do you think is more profitable for a service provider? Tell me. It goes back to our basics of an industry. Cost of raw material. This is all raw material. This is all expenses, right? Let's look at the chart. Of course, yep, white label is more expensive. Yeah, because you have to pay money to application provider, right? Yep. Yes. So, this is, again, I'm going very high level. I'm not giving you deep dive of this. There can be models, but on a high level, this is how service provider would typically work. So one is cheaper because you can negotiate salary. It takes more time, but you, as company, you make more margin on it because your cost is not some third-party software. Because if MarketSmith is the best or StockL is the best, they would charge their own fees, and I will only make 10-15% on the resell, right? So this is a resell model. This is a in-house development model. Okay. Now, again, decision criteria would be based on how application, if MarketSmith would allow me to change, application layout, build custom report. If it does not, then maybe I'll build something on house. Will it work fast? How how will it, how much time will it take to implement it? What is the cost of resource? Do I have people who know my MarketSmith or my application, etc.? Right. So I hope this approach is clear to you. Okay. Now let's look at the second option, which is on the focus operation path. Vivek says, boss, I already have right winners. I built my application with Deepan and my developer team, but I'm tired of hosting it on AWS or Azure, whatever provider. All I want to do is I just give me a cost of people who know AWS or Azure, wherever RideWinner is hosted, and I will pay you for them. Very simple. I own the intellectual property. I own my application. You just maintain, monitor, manage it. Any changes, I will, in RideWinner new features, I will take care of it. But just infrastructure you handle. This is where service providers provide people, right? So what they would do is they would find people who know this AWS Azure, okay, and know how it works. They know how to secure it, right? And they put that in a proposal and charge it for the length of the service, right? So this is operate model. So in the first model, build model, service providers build applications based on the requirement given by customer. Options can be reselling an existing application by using a margin, okay? And then the second is the the option where applications are already there. Now I'm looking for I'm looking at Debarshi is saying composite architecture. Yes, of course, mate. I am making it easy for people to understand. I will not want to put API on all that, right? That will make it very complicated for people, but very basic. Okay. Now summary. Service providers have skill set for specific requirements, and they build ecosystem with partners or people who provide infrastructure, security, hardware, etc., etc. Okay. Now let's look at revenue for Accenture. Look at $50 billion. What services do they provide? Right. Quick glance: cloud, digital, security, etc. TCS: cloud, automation, IoT, cybersecurity, blockchain. They have some products. Okay. For various use cases, HR, smart cities, etc. Infosys, same thing. Blockchain, analytics, engineering, Oracle, SAP. They also have some software products. HCL, products, services, right? LTI, again, cloud, services, applications. Wipro, cybersecurity, big data, blockchain, digital application infra. Same thing. You keep going through our entire most of the IT companies in the country, you will see similar trends. Okay, Tata Elxsi is similar, but something different. Extended reality. Now this should catch your eye. If you see something different, investigate further. Okay. Again, they mention IoT, AI, cloud, cybersecurity, robotics. Interesting. I did not see robotics. Industry 4.0. I did not see on somebody else's website, right? So common themes. So the service providers in India, most IT companies in India are providing people for various companies for solving various problems. Okay, they are completely different to what Microsoft, Google, etc. are doing. So can I compare Microsoft with TCS? No, I can't, because of the way they operate, right? So be very clear on when you're comparing. Now let's look at all these companies, right? Look at revenue versus employee. This is Accenture, number of employees, TCS, number of employees. Look at the margin, right? Now remember Microsoft and in number of employees and revenue. So you might have noticed the revenue of a product company or a software company is much higher compared to number of the services company. So the employee to revenue ratio is much different in a services company and a software company, and that should be one of the criteria to make investing decisions. Okay. Now let's look into how these companies are other ways of making money. So most of these companies, they have investment funds. So Microsoft has an investment fund, Google Venture has a fund, Infosys has a fund, Wipro Ventures has a fund. They keep investing into new companies, and if their companies get acquired, they will make money. So example, CloudKnox, a company in cybersecurity, got acquired by Microsoft. CloudNox made money, Wipro made money, right? Just like the way the private equity works, right? Infosys has the same, HCL has the same, right? So most companies offer similar services from services sector side, and then there are annual. You have to understand annual reports, difference between each companies, and then there are products, and these companies are investing into products also now. This is a new trend, started few years back only. Okay, now the key takeaway is from all this is your portfolio should have an exposure to tech stock. Would you guys agree? Do you guys agree that some sort of technology exposure has to be in your portfolio? People might like me who understand tech, my 80% portfolio is tech, because within tech I have gaming, I have services, I have cybersecurity, I have infra. That's how I've broken my portfolio. I've allocated sector allocation. That's how I've done. I don't focus on FMCG. For me, I know FMCG is there, but tech is the new FMCG. I strongly believe in that. Okay, so there is always right time to invest in technology. How do you invest? So I typically have Nasdaq 100 from Motilal Oswal. Parag Parikh has a fund, FlexiCap, which has top five companies that I mentioned in their fund. I also have. It's very easy to invest in US markets directly now. You use Grow, Vested, ICICI Global Invest, HDFC Global Invest. All of them have options now. Okay, so the key takeaway in have some exposure to tech, right? And somebody is asking your portfolio. Yeah, I will share my portfolio. It's very easy. Most of the companies that you saw there are part of it. Okay, and why is Tanla down? Entire tech sector is going down. Follow Nasdaq. It's perception. And remember, whenever you are analyzing, okay, understand the tech sector very well, sector within it very well, because it moves very fast. There could be new company coming up, so you have to be careful. So, example, if you buy a mobile gaming company, 3 months later, people don't play that game. Example, people were playing Fortnite, they got bored and they moved to another game, let's say PUBG. So automatically revenues of Fortnite will go down. Hence, revenues of EA Sports will go down. Understand it, why you're getting into it. Okay. Product versus services, very clear. Don't compare Microsoft, Google with TCS, Wipro, HCL, right? Compare whenever you're buying a tech business, whether it's pure tech, pure hardware, digital first business, like TCI is a digital first business. Okay. Also, Tata Elxsi was in my list. I moved very fast considering the time. I own Tata Elxsi, not a recommendation. It was a differentiator player. Is there an ecosystems play? I like ecosystem company. Microsoft is a great ecosystems company. So is Apple. Google is an ecosystems play. We can't survive without Google. I mean, I know, right? How easy it is to replace it is good question. Gaming, it's very easy. Can somebody replace Google search? Not so far. I've not seen it. Can somebody replace PlayStation or Xbox? I don't know if some company comes up, right? Any competitive modes? Patent scale of patents, as I said, is very important. So that whenever I'm comparing software companies, I look at patents. So KPIT, if you remember, I made a 6-bagger in that. That was in my Technofund Wizard session. The reason I picked KPIT versus Happiest Mind is because KPIT has software patents in a unique EV play, which is they make software for EV. And they have patents versus Happiest Mind, which is services. So I took a call. I went with software. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Loknath. Yes. Also, is there an emerging tech that can kill this company? Why not? Can always, be very active in tech. Okay. Example: Nokia versus Android. Nokia never took a decision to move to Android, and it went dead. Eventually, Microsoft bought it. Bheem came, right? And then Paytm, PhonePe, right? I don't need Paytm to make transactions, right? I can use the Bheem app, my Yono, my bank's app. to make a payment, right? So remember, any new thing can come and replace your company. Okay. Now, is any company going to use emerging tech? Very good point on that. Remember, a lot of companies like ICICI Bank is using blockchains to manage their vendors. There are you heard recently the budget, they are talking about a blockchain based virtual currency. Also, gaming companies will come into metaverse. We'll talk more about this in my metaverse session, right? And also look at revenue per employee. Okay, a very important factor. Software companies have more revenue per employee typically compared to a services company, right? And attrition rate. There is a term called the Great Resignation wave. Just Google it. IT, the entire tech industry is going through major attrition. Most of the Indian IT companies are have an average attrition rate of over 50% and above. Okay, so that's that's affecting these companies because there's so much demand. Okay, that people are leaving for better salaries, and of course, use Technofunda with tighter stop losses. Okay, so for me, I have Microsoft in my portfolio. It's in my core portfolio because I know there is no digital first business which will either build platforms on Amazon or Microsoft or Google, either three. Are they all three part of my core portfolio? Why not? As a basket, okay. But I know they have proven businesses, they have multiple sources of revenue, so that's my core portfolio. But a gaming company like EA Sports or a Nazara, that's in my satellite folio. Okay, so compare that. And then, yeah, so that's it. Map My India data patterns latent view, no idea, Talreja Saab. I haven't looked into it. I'm already invested, so I don't look for new companies. Sorry. But I can do that analysis. We have a data champion within us. So yeah, that's it from my end. Any questions?
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to post it in the Q&A or chat box, and yeah, we can take for 5 to 7 minutes more, and maybe after the guest session we can again continue Q&A if you want to go on. But yes, how to invest in US companies, Prashant?
I use Grow, use Andy Money, Vested. A lot of options are there directly if you're buying any company in AI ML. Paresh, every company is in AI ML today. Your Android phone has AI. So when don't go with high level terms. Understand why they are using AI. What is the purpose? Example, when I'm talking to my Google Voice, that's a conversational AI. Okay, so AI is there, but how the company is using it to either reduce cost, get improvement is in that business, understand that. Okay. Are the companies high? Good companies are always high because everybody is buying them. But Renish, look at NASDAQ, it has corrected a lot. I invested a few weeks back only, it has corrected a lot. I built my, I've added some tranches there, but I think it's always the right time. Use Technofunda, always. So Indian platform companies, right? So I would categorize our platform companies as digital first businesses. Okay, Affle is Affle is a digital first business. It's a platform company. IX is major business electricity, but they use IT to make selling of and buying electricity easier, right? So understand their business. Remember, technology, they're using technology as a differentiator or a disruptor. Okay. On mobile, no idea, Paresh. I don't track it. RateGain, Manushi, I'm looking at RateGain. Travel, it's in travel analytics. You know what's happening with travel. Let it come back. I'm following price action. It would be part of my satellite folio. But remember, if I have to decide between travel analytics versus Google, Apple, Microsoft, where would you go? Can a business survive without Microsoft? Most probably not. Can you survive without Microsoft Office? Google? No, you can't. So if I have to take a call, I would go with something which is already proven, which I use day to day, versus a RateGain, which is used by sector within sector, right? Yes, Rupesh, I can't show you my portfolio because I don't want to show how much money I have, but I can tell you, the companies that I own. I own in US. I own so I have cybersecurity plays. And then I have general. So I own Microsoft, Google, Amazon. one basket, I have cybersecurity, 3 companies. Uh, uh, this is CrowdStrike, Zscaler, others, just Google listed companies, Tenable, a lot of them. And then in terms of metaverse and gaming, I have some companies also. Unity Software. LTTS is an engineering company. I haven't researched into it. Gaurav, I will say again, I'm using Grow. Use Andy Money, it doesn't matter. All of them are the same. They use the same concept to log in. I will do a session on cybersecurity. Okay. So Renish, I don't know which companies to watch out. Because I've burnt my hand, going with some of the smaller companies. 8K Miles, if you remember, I burnt my hand there. We don't have strong platform play, but Affle, Tanla, Route, I have in my satellite folios. I'm just watching them. Splunk, yeah, Splunk will benefit if the acquisitions happen. 20 billion is a good price for Splunk. Gaming companies, as if you look at the recording, I've mentioned some of the gaming companies. Just Google top 10 games in 2021, 2022, you will know who made them. You will see gaming publishers, then find out which ones are listed. I know of 2. So I have Roblox in my portfolio. I have EA Sports, I have Activision. Cryptos. I will use cryptos. I will do a session on crypto sometime, but it's I believe in what Warren Buffett said. There is no real business in cryptos. It's more speculative, right? It's a good concept. It can be used, and essentially it's built on blockchain. So blockchain has a lot of use cases. Crypto is one of them. I'm not investing in any digital currency, unless I'm speculative. No, Sandeep, I don't know of anything. Yes, DeFi is the future if it is approved by central companies, the central banks. I guess, Vivek, we're done. Good question. So I think there's some things in QA panel. Is new. Okay. FMCG stocks. Personally, I don't own FMCG stocks because you have similar amount of capital. It's easy for me to understand a tech company rather than a ITC or HUL, because I might or might not eat a biscuit, but I will definitely work on PowerPoint.
Super. So great, guys. The key takeaway, what I learned from Prashant, even in his journey, is he's first focusing on his circle of competence, right? So understand where you have that circle of competence. If not, you build it like this, learning from Prashant and a lot other members who are smart enough to tell you what is happening in their own sector where they are, operating day in, day out, and then learning also simultaneously. So that is the way to go. But hope you found this entire session amazing. And of course, Prashant is also launching a YouTube channel where he's going to share a lot of insights in terms of how you can grow as an investor, your mindset in terms of what new things are coming, and you can enhance your knowledge. So
Prashant, one more. Vivek, thank you. Sorry for cutting you because I know Alok is due anytime now.
Yes.
I have a channel called the Mega Compounder. I'm going to post the link in the community. And the idea is that, tech is a huge strength. I'm grateful to technology. I'm grateful to this country. If you look at this, tech has changed our country. We as a country exported $150 billion worth of software export last year. We have built houses earlier than our parents. Parents, the dream was we retire and you make a house. Most people, right? In our cases, we built that in 10 years. All that to tech. Okay, so there is mega trend of tech. There are people like me who are in the industry, who've been there. People I call mega compounders who are successful, who took that train, did small things, and they are doing what they are in their life. And then there is the supply, the kids, the younger generation, people who are getting educated. And if you are working in the industry, IT tech industry, you would know what is being taught in the colleges doesn't make sense. It's absolutely useless. So what industries do, people like me, we hire freshers with the right attitude, we give them 1 year, train them, spend time on them, right? So there is supply, demand, and trend, right? Supply is people who are coming up, young people. There is demand from industry folks like me, and trend is tech. So how do we bridge the gap? So in the channel, what I will do is I will talk about tech and how do you make career around current tech, future tech. So example, if you are a BTech or engineering 4th year student, if you're a BA, you have no options. You don't understand what options to choose. I will guide you what to do in tech industry, how to make career in the tech industry. Okay, I will tell you as a parent, watch it if you want to know about options in the tech industry. So somebody has a knack for mathematics, what can he do? Somebody has a knack for some other thing, what can he do? If he doesn't know coding, doesn't matter. I have never coded in my life. Okay, most people think tech is all about coding. No, it's not. Right. So my channel will be all about the young people of the company, to guide them on the right way to choose the career, doing the right things. How do you stay motivated while you're in a job? How do you accelerate? If you're graduating in 3 years, how do you find which technology should I start working on today? Is Java still relevant? If Python relevant, or there's some other programming language I need to learn? And I have a lot of friends in 20 years. I know a lot of people. I speak to Loknath, also Vineet, and people who are from this industry. I will get them. I will get from my friends from all over the world who will talk about how they became successful, what needs to be learned to stay current, get a job, or stay successful in future. That's what my channel will be all about.
Awesome, Prashant. There will be like a exponential, ripple effect, I think you will create, and you can of course collaborate with so many people in IT in our community. You can interview them, and I think it will be awesome. I'm really hoping it goes big, and you should be able to cater and help and serve a lot of young generation. That is what is my best wishes for your channel. And if you have link of your channel, please share that, so that if somebody wants to, of course you can share it in the Telegram group also, but if you have handy, just share it here so that they can follow it. And I'll also put it below this video also, so that later on also anybody watches, they can see this and they can also get benefited. But it's great. And all of you, if you found this powerful, how one idea can lead to other, and you can collaborate and empower each other. Just type MPDY in the comment box. More power to you, Prashant. And it's awesome to see you go into this path of journey simultaneously while working full-time.
Thank you so much, Vivek. I've pasted the link to my channel. In case you want to paste it, how do I share?
You can just share it in the chat box itself. Yeah,
okay,
awesome.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah, perfect.
I just joined this channel. There is just one video today, but you'll see a lot of content coming.
Awesome.
Okay? Thank you so much.